Welcome back to the program. We are heading straight into the interview segment tonight. I am joined by one Peter Massawa. He's the CEO of Bitfields Limited. And if you have heard of Bitcoins, probably this is a conversation that you would want to listen to. But thank you very much for joining us tonight. We're going to be getting straight into that particular business in a while. But who is Peter Massawa? Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? Your first job? How was your upbringing?
Thank you. My name is Peter Massawa, like you've said. I grew up in Kenya, went to school in Siaya County.
Are you a Siaya native?
Yes, I'm a Siaya native. And I went to school in Siaya County, did my secondary school in Sawagongo High School then, and then went to the university, first of all, went to A-levels in Meru, Nkubu, then went to the University of Nairobi, did science, and then from there worked for Shell, did some work for also Anychem Group, and then to Standard Chartered. That's how my life has been. In Standard Chartered, I was in charge of sales and service for the branches, that's retail side of banking. Yeah, I went in charge of ATMs, direct banking. Those years, those were new things, new technology.
Yes.
Went to Nigeria, headed retail for Standard Chartered in Nigeria. And then went to South Africa, looking after 13 African countries, human capital development and strategic acquisitions in various areas.
How many years did that take?
13 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you quit banking.
Yes.
Someone would argue that banking is a very lucrative business and it's an industry that so many people would want to work in. Why would you, quit counting money to go somewhere else?
Well, it depends on how people see things, yeah? There's a banker employee and there's a businessman. The fact that you're sitting where money is does not mean the money belongs to you.
That's true.
That's what happens. In banking, you get to see a lot of money, but it does not belong to you. The money actually belongs to businessmen. So I decided to jump ship and go to where the money is, and that is in business.
So what business did you invest in after quitting banking?
After quitting banking, I went into what most Kenyans would ordinarily do, where they thought the money was. That was real estate. I'm still in real estate, yeah. And I also ran a network marketing company dealing with airtime distribution. That's what I did, and now I'm doing Bitcoins, plus, of course, the real estate work that I'm doing. But I'm spending most of my time in Bitcoins because that is where the money is now. That is the business. That is the future. It's just like 10 years ago when mobile money transfer started in the country. People didn't know it would be great. And those who knew went into it and have changed their lives in a big way. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with cryptocurrency. Those who know, that is a field to be in today, because in the next 5 years, it's going to be big.
Talking of Bitcoins, for that someone who does not understand, there are a lot of terms. There is cryptocurrency, there is cryptocurrency mining, there is Bitcoins. So break it down for us. Let's start with Bitcoins. What are Bitcoins for that someone who does not understand?
Okay, Bitcoins is digital currency. It's not currency that you touch, it's not in paper format, but is like what you have in mobile money transfer, where money exists in a computer or on your phone. So you have a wallet where this money is seated. So Bitcoins moves through electronic systems, in this case computers, and Bitcoins are converted into the normal money that we use through Bitcoin exchanges. So if you look at Bitcoins, it's like looking at our local money transfer services, M-Pesa for example. That is what it is like, because you can convert your M-Pesa into Kenya shillings, and you can convert your Bitcoins into Kenya shillings. But the other thing you must remember also about Bitcoins is that it's created through a process called cryptography, which makes it something that you cannot corrupt. You cannot create a fake Bitcoin. All Bitcoins are genuine Bitcoins.
Perhaps this is probably something that you as an investor would really support, but there are those who think that this is something really risky because you have to attach an asset to an investment. Because there are those people who believe, like Warren Buffett, really recently said that the future of Bitcoin is a disaster. Right now, one trades at around 570,000 Kenyan shillings. How would someone in their right mind go invest in something that is not tangible?
Yeah, it's just like money. The normal money we use is actually what is called fiat money. Previously, money had backing of gold, rather. And from 1971, the gold standard for money changed, and money now is backed by governments, so it's fiat money. And that same money can be printed in excess, and it would lose value overnight. We saw it in Zimbabwe. Now, the difference between the normal money that we have and the Bitcoin is, first of all, for us to understand the history of Bitcoins. What created Bitcoins? Bitcoins was created as a result of the economic crisis of 2008, because the feeling was the user of Bitcoins and the user of money needs to be in control of his money, because the feeling again was that banks were misusing the depositors' money, and banks were doing some corrupt deals, and that hence the banks collapsing. So the creation of Bitcoins was simply to put the user in control.
Okay.
Like you've said, yeah, many people thought it would go nowhere. In 2010, one Bitcoin was 12 shillings. Today, one Bitcoin is 640,000. The public, the user, is the one who gives it value. The trust they have in it, the ease of using it, yeah, and of course the low charges of using it are what is giving it value. So it's the acceptability, is the community, is the society in all these different countries that have given Bitcoin value. The other thing is the way of production of Bitcoins is what also gives it even additional value. This is a currency that you know very well will never be more than 21 million in total, number produced. And so what does that mean? As more and more people are accepting Bitcoins, the price of Bitcoins is bound to go up. So people are investing in Bitcoins to hold it as an asset because of its convenience and its use, knowing very well it's going to rise. So we have people who support the fact that this is a great currency. We have those who feel it's not great, but those who feel it's not great felt that way right from the word go, but they've been proved wrong.
We can't say they have been proved wrong, because this is a continuing process. Probably there are those who know. But how would you convince someone to invest in something that goes for 600 and something thousand for one piece of a coin, which you cannot hold in your hand?
Yes. Now, very good question. How do you convince somebody to invest in something costing 640,000 that you can't hold in your hand? It's the use of that product. Considering a country like Japan, Bitcoin is legal payment method. Today, most vehicles being imported from Japan in this country are paid for using Bitcoins, and is all over the world. So the moment one country begins doing that, then other people also begin coming in. Number two, the world is full of areas and pockets where there are problems. Any country that has an economic challenge, that citizens in the countries where you have these kinds of problems always move their money from their normal fiat currency into Bitcoins. So it's always provided an alternative in areas of challenges. And that is why it keeps growing in value now. Because you know the world will always have challenges, it shows if you invest in this, it's going to appreciate more than land that Kenyans invest in. And the articles, the chairman of Blockchain Kenya, Dr. Bitangi Ndemo, wrote to Kenyans last year around August, and he told Kenyans, stop investing in land, begin thinking seriously about cryptocurrencies. At that time, a Bitcoin was going for slightly below $4,000, which is 400,000 Kenya shillings. That was last year. Today, it's going for more than 640,000 shillings. It's proved him right.
But everything has a disadvantage. So what are the dons when it comes to investing in cryptocurrency?
Yes. When it comes to investing in cryptocurrency, you must remember you have to think of it long term. Don't think of it short term.
How is that a don't?
Because You know, cryptocurrencies, and in this case I'm talking about Bitcoins, it's always fluctuating. But in that fluctuation, the graph is going up because it's up, down, but it keeps going up over time. So people who are looking at this as short term are not going to make the money they are thinking of. People who are looking at this 3, 4, 5 years down the line are the ones who are going to make it big. Right now, we actually are talking about Bitcoin having crashed, but it's not gone back to where it was at 4,000 last year. Mm-hmm. It's gone, the lowest is gone is $5,400, which is 540,000 Kenya shillings from 400,000 Kenya shillings. That's the lowest it's gone, yeah, when with the crash we're talking about. But it's rising.
We can't say that in 2021 the value of Bitcoin will double. We cannot say that, considering that even in normal pricing of commodities. I'm not a business journalist, but the basics that I understand here is something that is not backed by asset, and you are telling an investor that in the next 2 years or 3 years, what you are buying for 600,000 will go for 7 million.
Okay.
That is pure speculation.
We don't, there's something about Bitcoins that we don't really talk about that much. And that is, we don't tell you where it will be next year or the next 3 or 5 years.
Why?
What we do is, we just tell you what the projections look like, because we really don't know. It's like, for example, in Kenya, we don't know where the Kenya shilling will be in the next 3 years.
But you see, the difference between a Kenyan shilling is that I can buy a piece of land with that Kenyan shilling, and then the land will stay idle for as long as I want, because I know that the more Kenyans continue to populate, the more that land will go for.
Yes.
So how do you convince someone to argue the same with Bitcoin?
Very good point. The more countries are accepting Bitcoin as legal payment, the route Japan is taking, the route also Germany, is taken.
Yes.
The more people are getting involved with Bitcoins, hence the demand for Bitcoins. That is number one. Number two, the people who are using Bitcoins today spend less in their transactions, international transactions, than the people who are using the normal currency. That is the other thing. So, number three, even World Bank is gone ahead and said this high time the countries began accepting cryptocurrencies and looking at them. So the level of acceptance, the policy leaders, the opinion leaders are into this. You're talking about Warren Buffett. You've not spoken about Bill Gates. Bill Gates is a true supporter of Bitcoins. You've not spoken about Sir Richard Branson, is a true supporter of Bitcoins. You actually have more business minds supporting Bitcoins than those who are against it. That is the difference. The only difference is we get to hear of the negatives more than the positives. And because we hear of the negatives more, Kenyans are now losing an opportunity. But what we are doing in Bitfields is providing Kenyans with knowledge so that they begin look at this currency seriously. They don't begin letting opportunities go the way many of us let the mobile money transfer system go. And once they understand that, we have a big future. The other thing is look at countries like Switzerland that have opened these tax-free zones. Singapore has done that for people who are creating cryptocurrencies, people who are involved in blockchain. Those countries have understood the future, so they're investing in it. That's why they're inviting, if you're a Kenyan and you want to go there, go. You'll have a tax-free environment and do your work. They know where the future is. They understand it. And that is what we are doing, letting Kenyans know.
Okay, fair enough. And speaking of, how many Bitcoins do you have?
Now that is confidential.
I know it's confidential, but Forbes comes up with a list of who is the richest and who is not, who has overtaken the other. And if you are an investor in this, probably to inspire confidence into someone who would want to invest as well.
Yeah.
Give me a number, just...
No, I've invested big.
You've so that's roughly...
For Kenyans, roughly It's in millions.
All right. Millions of bitcoins.
No, of Kenya shillings.
Okay. Thank you very much. Of course, this is something that analysts have in the terms, because considering the prediction from those who know and those who are really opposed to this, we can only wait. Right now, you said it's
640,000.
One bitcoin.
One bitcoin.
So you in the next probably couple of months, it will grow.
It's projected, the conservative projections are putting it by 2022. That's when Kenyans remember elections, dates, and all those kinds of things. We should be around $30,000 for a bitcoin.
So it shall have gone past
That is 3 million.
Wow, all right. Thank you very much, Peter Massawa. And we are taking a pause, but don't go too far, because business news is coming up next.